Okay, here we go. We're recording now.
Okay, hey everyone. Welcome to the October 6th edition of the Presto Foundation Technical Steering Committee meeting. So we have several items on the agenda today. And the first one is about the committer and TSC member separation that we briefly had a discussion about that in the past as well, but we would like to bring that up again and discuss. And there is an item about an update from the outreach committee from DIPTI, and there is the last item is about a discussion of the role of architects in the Presto community again by DIPTI. So I'm going to start with the committer TSC member separation discussion and then pass it to DIPTI after that. So currently, if you look at the charter of the technical steering committee, you will see that the charter talks about multiple roles, multiple things. It talks about the contributor, it talks about committer, and it talks about TSC member. And so these notions, these roles are kind of weakly defined in the charter. And basically, based on the charter, it says currently the TSC is equal to the committers. So going forward to make the TSC structure more flexible, we would like to separate the committer and the TSC role more clearly in the charter. And that will basically help us manage both set of bodies independently and in a much more flexible way. So this means like when there's a contributor in the community, that contributor can be nominated as a committer based on that person's contributions. And then that committer later on can be nominated as a TSC member. So that is the model that we have in mind, and that is currently being discussed by the TSC, and the definitions of these are being formalized so that the distinction is much clearer in the charter. And so any questions about that? Any thoughts? Good or bad? Like how do you folks think about the direction about separating the both bodies of people?
Yeah, so Nazir, a quick question on that. What does the TSC comprise of then if there's a separation like this? I think it's really, first thing, I think it's really good to have specific roles associated and understand them a little bit better. But kind of asking a clarifying question on the separation of the roles, and maybe you can share a little bit more about what the TSC would do and what the committers would do, and initially are all our committers still a part of the TSC?
Mm-hmm. So it will be similar to like how Apache Software Foundation does it. Like the committers will be doing the day-to-day maintenance of the project. They will run the project. They will, review PR, checking the code, whatever. And initially, since currently we have TSC equal to the committers, then I think once we make this change, the existing people should still be in the TSC. Like it will be too much hassle to really restructure that.
Right.
So, and after that, like the new TSC will be similar to Apache PMC, where established committers will be the TSC members who will deal with, again, they can help with the day-to-day activities since they have the committer rights, as well as they can contribute to the long-term oversight of the project, similar to what they do right now.
Yep, got it. Yeah, I was just going to say it sounds similar to the ASF model. So
yeah.
Three-tiered model. The TSE is more focused on the oversight overall. And actually, I have a topic that's sort of related as well. So
yes.
we'll get to that. Yeah, we'll get to that in a bit.
Yeah. Any other comments? Yeah, definitely. Any other comments about this change? Like I said, the status of this changes is still being discussed and the details are being finalized. They're trying to formalize and capture the definition in the charter. And once we have that formal change, we will put it up for voting and share it broadly. Okay. So then I'm moving on to the next item. So Dipti, do you want to start with the role of architects first, maybe, since that's more
It's
related
kind of
to,
sort of related.
yeah, yeah.
Yes, give me one sec. So one of the things as it relates uh, with the the discussion, the change that Nazi was talking about is the broader goal of making the community more vibrant, right? And as a part of that, there's multiple roles, multiple people play different roles in the community. And currently, the committers were a part of the TSC, and it's great to hear that that there's more governance that's being thought on top of that. Another aspect is the design and architectural kind of a role and guidance that the project gets. I'm bringing up a couple of slides here, so just bear with me. Um, and so the reason I brought this up today is we had a very, very good first PrestoCon a couple of weeks ago. The feedback from PrestoCon was very, very impressive. People, the community, we've had multiple conversations after that where they really love that Presto vision that we jointly set, that was shared in the keynote, that was shared in the Facebook session, in the Uber sessions as a part of the panels. I just kind of put in one of the mission statements here from one of the sessions is to be the most dependable, fastest engine, right? Analytics engine there is. And the feedback on this was pretty incredible. There are a lot of people looking at, they may be in another community, another adjacent community, maybe using a different version, a different fork of Presto, but are very seriously, thinking about PrestoDB, given the conference and given the depth of the discussions they saw. And so I was thinking more about the TSC as well. The question that I want to put forward for discussion is, typically when with open source projects, ASF or Linux Foundation, the creators, the early developers set that vision and that architecture from the very beginning. There's a lot of design discussions, a lot of designs attached to PRs. Some of that may have been lost over time. And is it the right time to bring in some more design focus where we could have advisors or architects or some role that is adjacent to the committers, and the committers obviously are incredibly important to the project. They from a implementation, a design perspective, but it might be helpful to have some complementary skills for the overall project to assist with that. It could be an architectural role, an advisory role. And I'm just putting, this is not a proposal, I'm just putting it up for discussion. Because the momentum that we've got from PrestoCon, I think would be great to continue on and to have such deeper discussions with the broader community where architects can lead some of those discussions along with the committers. And it would be really good for the project. So I'm just bringing this up as a overall discussion point. If there's interest, we can look at as figure out what the right approach is, how this fits into TSC. I think it might be a good time to have this conversation given that there's overall discussion about the TSC itself and adding more governance and more thought to it to make the project more vibrant. So just some thoughts on that. Any questions or comments, folks? Nezi, as you've thought about TSC more, maybe you any feedback from you?
Yeah, I feel like this may be something like this may be useful. But I know that there's a lot of experienced people in our community as well who are not committers, like having them give input or give ideas about the long-term strategy or long-term architecture of the system, how it should evolve, etc., may be useful for the community. That is at a high level what I feel. But the implementation of that, like, do you have any ideas about how to implement this?
I mean, there are a couple of different approaches, and if it makes sense, we can have that discussion. I mean, there's a part of the TSC role of the TSC can be can have some advisory context associated with it, right? And that might be one approach. But I mean, this is a um, for me, this is I'm putting this out as as is the right time to have this conversation, right? You know, after PrestoCon, where we have great momentum, and if this is serious, if the committers and the team feels that it's good to spend time on thinking about this, we can obviously think about doing it the right way and using the right approach. There are other models that we could look at, and then bring it up for discussion with the team. Anyone else feedback? Zensha or others? I don't know who else is on the call.
Yeah, for the role of architect, do you think the architect only do the design, or does he still do the coding?
It might be a combination, right? I mean, I think that you have to understand the code to some extent to propose or suggest reviews or changes. But this is a early early discussion, and so we can decide on what that would be. And my feedback would be it would be a combination.
Yeah, could that be a big difference from our committers? I mean, committers are also doing design and coding.
Good question. I think that it's maybe a slightly higher order in terms of looking at across components instead of individual components. There are, there's a system level design element to it, which helps projects usually. So we can have that discussion if there's if there is a feeling that this might be helpful. Okay, if there's no, I think there may be some benefit to looking at this. So if there is interest, we can, Nezzy will take your lead on, how to work, how to move forward and take it from there. And then should we move on to the next topic?
Yeah, unless there are any questions, we can, I guess, we'll move to the next one.
All right. Okay. So a quick update on PrestoCon, folks. Very, very successful first PrestoCon. Thank you everyone for their efforts. I hope many of you could attend. There were a range of speakers from a wide range of companies, many different types of sessions. So we had nearly 650 registrations overall, which is, I think, the biggest Presto event that has been up until now. So a big congratulations to everyone. At peak, there were about 200 attendees, probably around some part of the day. And a lot of people stayed on to the end. There was the quality of sessions and the feedback we got was the quality of the content and session was very good. There were 9 full sessions, 9 lightning talks, 2 panels. We had 7 sponsors and 2 event sponsors as well. From a diversity perspective, Linux Foundation has a very high bar for diversity, which brings in a lot of different ideas. And so that was it was great to partner with these organizations. All the recordings are already on YouTube. So if you haven't had a chance, if you missed something, you could try it out. Take a look at youtube.prestodb.io. And in terms of feedback so far, as interesting from a project perspective, disaggregated coordinator with the resource manager, a separate, N coordinators that do the, planning to execution, analyzer to execution, and then the workers. There was a lot of really good feedback on that. I think that the community will give it a try once it's available. The other one that we heard good feedback on was the native engine. So basically removing that JVM dependency. Ranger was the third, and there were 3 or 4 different Presto routers, gateways that came up through different talks. It might be good idea to consolidate some of these efforts under a new project under PrestoDB. I think the Twitter teams have already open sourced. There's other projects as well. It might be good to put some effort into this so that there is a unified approach for routing across multiple Presto clusters. So yeah, that's it from me in terms of the PrestoCon update. Questions, thoughts, feedback?
Yeah, I just want to say, like, I got similar feedback from some external people. Like they liked the content a lot. They liked how the projects were visionary and long-term, like thinking the long-term of Presto. And it was not just a bunch of features here and there. It was just like a coherent thinking around how to take Presto to the next level. So there was really good positive feedback about all the content actually.
Great.
Any comments or questions for Dipti?
Constructive or positive? There's always room to improve. All right. Back to you, Gail and Nezzy.
Okay, so there is one more item. It's not on the agenda, but Bin just pinged me, being fan from Alexio. So he wants to talk a little bit about some of the recent collaboration and some of Alexio's plans. Bin?
Thank you, Nazir. Let me share my screen. I have 3 slides to share you. Yeah, so I have been working with Facebook Presto team in the past few months. Basically, we're building a Presto Alexio solution, joint solution, and I want to update you, the TSC members, about where we are right now and share our plan moving forward. Assume you can see my screen, right? Unless if you cannot see it, yeah, just let me know. So the goal is to deliver a Hive connector caching solution. And for this particular project, we want to build a high performance caching solution for Hive connector. That's number 1. Number 2 is also to showcase there's a organic and very healthy win-win situation for the open source collaboration across multiple different projects, open source projects. So we started this project about early this year, and we started from scratch actually. So Alexio is a caching system, but we want to build something specialized for Presto solution. And basically this project start from scratch, and we have about 9,000 lines of code, and it's a spread over 2 code bases, about 6,000 in Alexio code base. Majority of the code is in Alexio code base, and 2,000 lines in Presto code base, mostly for integration. And it's a code development from both sides since January. We see that we're doing architecting, integration, productionization, testing together with Facebook team, especially with James, Rohit, Kay, and also Xixuan. And on Alexio side, it's basically me and also Calvin. We are both founding engineers on the Alexio side. And feature implementation wise is mostly driven and done by me. And we delivered this to as a final solution to Facebook in mid-2000 this year. And we see very good performance, like 2x to 10x latency reduction for various workloads in Facebook we have already seen. And now it's already being deployed at thousands of nodes today. And we'll keep improving that.
Well, when I interrupt a little bit to say here is like Bin and myself and Xixuan collaborated a lot on this project. as mentioned in the slides, we see like 10x improvement. And also this project deprecated our legacy solution called Raptor. So the Raptor connector has been completely deprecated by this solution with a local data cache and the a remote HDFS storage. This is a huge win for us, and really thanks like Luxil's contribution. Though not many of the lines were inside Presto code base, the core code is inside Luxil, but the entire like the new codes, the PRs in Luxil code base only contributes to the purpose for this project only. Also, as like Bing mentions, we're running at thousands of nodes today. Actually, we're running tens of thousands of nodes today. All the interactive fleet we have in Facebook running Presto has this solution enabled. So it's a really big shout out to our Luxil team.
Thanks, James. I get a lot of help from the Presto developers. It's a really good experience for me to collaborate with external community and on the very awesome project. And we're seeing the feedback. It's really awesome. So next slide, I want to share some planned contribution moving forward. So we are working together closely on the table quota. This is with we already made most of the code and it's in the review phase. And I'm also working with James on supporting TTL. This is something, some like on the privacy side, there are some certain feature requests for Presto to be compliant. So we're designing to make sure that cache can also be compliant with the privacy requirements. And also we're in discussion of some performance optimization. What we see is sometimes we are running Presto to query a lot of small table files, and there are certain things we can do on the on the caching side we can do to further improve the cache hit ratio. And also I'm working with Kay closely on improving the coverage for the tests. We're adding more integration tests and also adding some benchmark on the cache. Finally, more documentation, and all these are in the plan, and I'm just rolling this out. There's some other community contribution, and I'm leading the Luxil team to do like more code review in the Presto side, and I'm helping to driving some more blogs. This is by the way, I'm also serving an outreach committee, working with Dipti together, and we already created multiple 2 to 3 articles talking about the Presto use case, and I'm driving with more from JD.com and ByteDance. And also getting more talks about Presto. I'm jointly presenting with Rohit in Scale by the Bay and also in the Luxil Data Orchestration Summit coming this year. Yeah, this is also my shout out to thanks for all the support from James, Rohit, Shishyan, and Kay, and all the Presto team who members help us on the journey. And we will continue this journey. That's all I have today.
Yeah, thank you, Ben. Yeah, thanks a lot, folks, for enabling this collaboration. I think it was an exemplary collaboration where we got a lot of value for the community. So any questions for Ben or any comments? Okay, before we wrap up, like, does anyone have any agenda items or items that you want to bring up? Okay, then I guess we can wrap up here. And thanks, folks, for joining today. And until next time, take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.